Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, St. Elizabeth teen charged with larceny. Detectives assigned to the St. Elizabeth Police Division have charged a 17-year-old boy with larceny following an incident at Newcomb Valley District in the parish on Friday. Reports from the police are that about 8:30 p.m., a man was at home when the teen knocked on his door, which he later opened and allowed him inside. Shortly thereafter, the man reportedly saw the accused leaving the room with his wallet and called out to him. The teen then ran on the outside and made his escape in the area. The wallet was later reportedly found in the yard with $7,000 missing. A report was made to the police and an investigation launched into the matter. On Saturday, the accused was arrested and taken into custody. He was subsequently charged after a caution statement. His court date is being finalized. St. Catherine man who raped a woman while on her way to work gets over 16 years behind the bars. A St. Catherine man who pleaded guilty to the rape of a woman while she was on her way to work one morning in October 2023 was on Monday sentenced to a total of over 37 years in prison. He was sentenced by Justice Yvonne Brown in the St. Catherine Circuit Court to 16 years and 3 months for rape, 8 years and 9 months for forcible abduction, and 12 years and 6 months for robbery with aggravation. The sentences are to run concurrently, meaning he will only serve 16 years and 3 months behind the bars. Brown ruled that he must serve at least 10 years before being eligible for parole. The court heard that around 5:30 a.m. on October 23, the woman who worked as an administrative assistant was on her way to work when she was accosted by the man and forced to a secluded area where she was sexually assaulted. The man also robbed her of money and other personal belongings before fleeing. A report was made to the Police's Center for Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse. A probe resulted in his arrest and a subsequent charge. Constable Walters is the 40th cop to be charged over 19 months, says Indicom. The Independent Commission of Investigations is reporting that Constable Patrick Walters, who was recently charged with the murder of his girlfriend, is the 40th cop to be charged in relation to an Indicom investigation over the last 19 months. Walters is charged with the June 25 shooting death of Dejanay Graham. He was also charged with using a firearm to commit a felony. According to police reports, the incident occurred around 9:15 p.m. during a domestic dispute at Graham's home. When officers arrived at the scene, both Graham and Walters were found suffering from gunshot wounds in what appeared to be a fatal shooting. They were taken to hospital where Graham was pronounced dead and Walters was admitted under police guard. Indicom prepared and submitted a report for a ruling to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in relation to the death of Dejanay Graham, who was fatally shot on June 25, 2025 in Essex District, Richmond, St. Mary. The ODPP, in its ruling to Indicom, dated July 17, 2025, indicated that Constable Walters is to be charged for the offenses of using a firearm to commit a felony, contrary to Section 14(2) Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulation Act, and murder, contrary to common law, Indicom said in a statement on Tuesday. The Commission also noted that since 2024, 10 Jamaica Constabulary Force officers and 1 Jamaica Defense Force officer have been charged in relation to 10 fatal shooting cases. Constable Walters has been remanded in police custody and is expected to appear before the court this week. Worker at the Western Union in Spanish Town pleads guilty to stealing over $3.3 million. A 22-year-old man who was employed at the Western Union outlet in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, today pleaded guilty to stealing over $3.3 million from the entity. Tucker Beckford, who was employed as a clerk admitted to the offense of larceny as a servant and is to be sentenced on September 2. A social inquiry report was ordered. Facts are that on January 13, 2025, Beckford stole the money from the company, which had a glitch in its payment system. Beckford was confronted and the police were called in. He was taken into custody on suspicion of larceny as a servant. He subsequently gave a caution statement to the police and was arrested and charged. Blood stain being sought by the police. The police are searching for a sixth man who they say escaped during Monday's standoff between them and the gunmen in Jacks Hill, St. Andrew. 5 men were killed during the shooting. The sixth man has been identified as Courtney Ashley, otherwise called Bloodstain. He is being asked to report to the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Investigations Branch. The police say Monday's operation thwarted a contractor killing and resulted in the fatal shooting of 5 men and the recovery of 4 firearms. About 12:40 p.m., a police team was carrying out investigations relating to a murder plot, which led the officers to the location. On their arrival at the property, the officers reportedly came under heavy gunfire and responded to the threat to their lives. When the shooting ended, 5 men were reportedly seen with gunshot wounds. They were pronounced dead at hospital. The identities of the deceased have not yet been ascertained. 4 firearms, a shotgun, 1 M16 rifle, a Glock pistol, and a Taurus pistol were recovered from the scene. No police officer was wounded during the confrontation. Government urged to provide comprehensive health insurance coverage for police officers. The government is facing renewed calls to provide a comprehensive health insurance coverage for all members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. It follows the funeral for Corporal Kenisha Allen, who was laid to rest on Monday after battling illness. Corporal Allen, who served the force for 21 years, died on May 23. Speaking at the funeral service, executive member of the Jamaica Police Federation, Corporal Tanisha Lewis, said the health and welfare of police officers have been overlooked for far too long. She said officers deserve proper health care, especially when faced with unavoidable illnesses.
How many times? How much more? This moment is more than a moment of grief. It's a moment of reckoning. Let me be clear that we are still renewing our call, firmly and urgently, for a 100% health insurance coverage for all members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. This is not a luxury. This is not a favor. This is a distant goal. This is a moral imperative. The government of Jamaica, as our employer, must respond with the seriousness, the urgency, and the compassion that this issue demands. Too many of our officers spend time in waiting rooms in the hospitals than in our divisions and with our families. Too many are sent home without answers, and too many are forced to fight silent battles alone, afraid and unanswered. Corporal Allen passing is more than a personal loss. It's a national call to action. Our heroes may wear uniforms, but beneath that uniform are mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, caregivers, and breadwinners.
Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.